This is Times Drive and I'm Joel Pereira. Now you might not know this, but back in 1999, people building SUVs always concentrated on the off-roading, mud-plugging aspects of it. But people driving them, with the exception of maybe Chuck Norris, use them to maybe go shopping or drop the kids at school. Now the thing is, BMW looked at the situation and thought to itself, if everyone's using their SUVs out on the road, why not build the best road-going SUV? What they came up with was this, the X5. And that's exactly what they did. The hallmark of the X5 sports activity vehicle has always been great on-road performance and drivability. And now, 15 years and 3 generations later, that's what it still is. The new X5 is BMW's way of saying, let's do more. So in typical German fashion, they've gone bigger. It's 30 centimeters longer and 5 centimeters wider. It's also more brutal. If you compare this car to the outgoing model, the previous version was quite stylish. This one's a little more SUV. Now this is an SUV in India, so there can be only one proper engine option and no real relevant choices. What you've got under the hood is a 3-litre twin-scroll turbo diesel that seems to be BMW's diesel marquis engine. Right, so down to specifics. You've got 258 bhp of power, but a staggering 560 newtons of torque that's accessible from as low as 1500 RPMs. What that also means is that you're going to get just a hair's breadth worth of turbo lag. And if you do set your foot down on the throttle pedal in anger, you're going to get all that power almost instantaneously. Also, considering that this is a super luxury SUV, all this happens with very little drama at all. Just a slight bit of tremble as the power builds and then boom. Now from the outside, this car does look like it needs a turret and a rifled cannon. But then if you do firewall the X5 from standstill, you're rocketing to about 100 in 7.5 seconds, which is seriously quick, especially for a car this size, and I'd imagine terrifying to look at from the outside. Top speed is about 230 kilometers to the hour, and despite all that thunder and lightning, cruising around in the city will get you a mileage of about 9.5 kilometers to the litre, going up to about 15 while cruising on the highway. Now, helping that decent mileage are systems like start-stop, brake energy regeneration and the Eco Pro mode, which manages the climate control and the gear shift point to squeeze every last bit of energy from that litre of diesel. And speaking of transmission, it gets a boost too. The new X5 comes with the 8-speed gearbox, which I quite love. 8 gears with tightly packed ratios make this car ride that wave of torque almost constantly. Gears shift so quickly and seamlessly that the driver really gets lost in the gearscape. There's also a paddle shifter, but then gears upshift and downshift so efficiently that you very rarely find yourself needing it. You've got 4 transmission modes. There's the Eco Pro, Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. Now we often speak of these modes when driving cars like these, and here's what they do. Now depending on what mode you're in, your steering response changes. Traction control switches on or off, the gearbox shift quicker or almost redlines every gear for power max. And that makes a huge difference to the dynamics of the drive.
And then I lost it again. I know I'll get it back, it's just a question of when.
Now one of the hallmarks of the BMW luxury driving experience is that comfort and style don't come at the expense of handling. and the X5 delivers and delivers hard. Like we said earlier, this car might seem pretty huge, but actually feels like driving quite a smaller car. It feels light and agile. BMW have managed to split the weight 50-50 over both axles, which makes this car feel really balanced. If you feel like it, you can swing the X5 around, like for fun. The car will let you do whatever you want till sheer physics comes in and tells you to calm down. Now the X5 does come with air suspension as standard, and it does take a little time to get used to it because now it does feel a little floaty and ship-like if the road is undulating, but switching to sports mode, especially out on the highway, sorted you out. Our roads are pretty dire, and yet I guess the sheer weight and super massive 21-inch tires, which is what this car is riding on, basically ground everything out, though the wheels did seem like a bit of an overkill. You're going to be fine with the standard 18 inches. So performance gets a boost and all new transmission comes in too. Ride and handling get improved a slight bit, but from the outside it doesn't look like nothing much has changed. True, it does look very familiar to the outgoing X5, but then you have to look closer. Considering that this is an evolutionary change, the exteriors look quite similar to the outgoing X5, but the biggest change has come in the front end. Oddly enough, now the front end of the X5 looks very similar to the X3, with the kidney grille and newly designed air dams. There isn't too much change with the interiors as well. They haven't strayed far away from the standard BMW black and tan design, but there is a feeling of familiarity here. Everything is where it should be. The color display, the 2-zone climate control, and moving further down, the iDrive rotary wheel. Also featured is the starter button, the glowing orange dials and the 8-speaker stereo. There's a decent bit of safety here too. 6 airbags, traction and stability control, ABS and brake assist. Another place where the new X5 outdoes the old is size. This car is wider and longer than the previous version, and that translates into a lot of space for everyone. Seating 5 comfortably with plenty of room for luggage and the family dog. Build quality too is perfect with everything closing and opening with the right amount of gravitas. Where does this car let you down? Quite honestly, I can't really tell. The only issue I had was with the floaty suspension when the car's in comfort mode and the sameness of the interiors, but again, these are subjective criticisms. And many of you will be dazzled by the way this car feels when you drive it. Now should you decide to get one, you're putting down 70.9 lakhs ex-showroom. But do yourself a favor and don't get a driver. This car begs to be driven. Welcome back. Now Skoda has gone ahead and given the Rapide a midlife upgrade with refurbished interiors and an all-new transmission. Here's Abhishek Singh with the Skoda Rapide Black Edition.
So the bourgeois have their cars packed to the gills with bells and whistles. And in today's day and age, even the Joe Public car buyer wants some of those things in what he drives. So the good folks at Skoda Auto decided to take your garden variety sedan and make it look like this. Brings a smile to the face, doesn't it? Say hello, dear viewer, to the 2014 Skoda Rapide Black Edition. Now this car looks like a dream. Yes, it's a break away from what the customer Skoda had in mind for the Rapide would like, but it's pretty nonetheless. The Black Edition is offered only in the elegance variant and it costs an extra 20 grand. It comes with blackened projector headlamps and fog lamps. The grille too is finished in black, as are the ORVMs and alloy wheels. There is also the option of going in for a blackened roof and black side foils from the dealer. The inside remains unchanged and comes with the same high quality interior with good fit and finish. The front and rear seats are comfortable with abundant space, and the wide rear bench can comfortably seat 3 people. The top end one we drove also had additional features like rear parking sensors, cruise control, a card holder and new design 15-inch alloy wheels. And while you're inside, there's also this, the 7-speed DSG dual clutch gearbox that Skoda is only offering with the diesel Rapide. With the addition of the new gearbox and the funky Black Edition package, the Rapide finally packs a punch which will make the competition take notice. Not to mention the Joe Public car buyer who wants bells and whistles in his car. Enough banter, let's drive. The new Rapide is powered by a downsized 1498cc engine which puts out 103 bhp and 250 Nm of torque. These are similar figures to the petrol versions of the Rapide, despite the fact that the engine capacity on the diesel is 100cc lower. The DSG auto box is always a great thing to have, but in the new Rapide, the shifts border on sluggish, and that does not bode well for driving in traffic, which is where this car is going to spend most of its life. Having said that, when you're out driving on the highway or on a nice open stretch of road, the Rapide makes up for what is lacking at slow speeds. And once the car settles in, it really is a joy to drive. There is turbo lag below 1800 RPM, but post that there's a huge surge of power, and the abrupt power delivery can make it difficult to drive smoothly. But one thing is for sure, overtaking in the new Skoda Rapide is quite easy, thanks to all the torque on offer. The suspension setup on the 2014 Rapide is retained from the outgoing version, which means that the ride is comfortable and has good all-round stability, which makes it great for long-distance cruising as well. You may feel especially large potholes thumping through to the cabin, and at high speeds there's a bit of bobbing over undulations, but it never gets uncomfortable. Handling is sharp and fun can be had at the wheel. The light but precise steering gives you a lot of confidence, but that must not be allowed to go unchecked. The fuel tank of the new Rapide has a capacity of 55 litres, and when Skoda briefed us about this car earlier this morning, they told us that if driven efficiently, this car can do 1000 kilometers on a full tank of gas. And we've given you the fun fact. You can do the math. Just kidding, I'd be out of a job if we didn't do the math for you. Especially this kind. So 1000 kilometers in 55 litres. That's approximately 18 kilometers to the litre, which as far as mileage of an automatic goes is bloody good. If you were to ask Sharma uncle who stays down the street whether he thinks automatics can be more frugal than stick shifts, we know he'd laugh in your face. But Skoda claims that their high-tech dual clutch variant guzzles less gas than the manual one, and we believe them for the most part. But then the DSG will come at a premium, and we put that at around 1 lakh above the price of the manual. So should you pay that premium? We say yes. And while you're at it, pay the extra 20 grand for the Black Edition package as well, and there's no need for aftermarket modifications. Saves you a lot of trouble.
Welcome back. Now, considering how much time we all spend in that slow-moving river of sludge we call traffic, trying to avoid that moron on the scooter from committing suicide on your front fender, dealing with the clutch in the first 2 gears of your car is something you want to avoid. The solution is so elegant: automatic transmission. The problem is almost always automatic transmission means decreased efficiency, and people would rather deal with a sore left foot than with a sore wallet. Allow us to present a solution: the Tata Zest AMT diesel. It seems like the perfect solution, and that's something called the automatic manual transmission, which makes the Zest diesel special. By integrating this gearbox into the car, Tata Motors have created India's cheapest diesel sedan. Tata cars had that utilitarian air about them, but now with the Zest that has been expunged pretty well, and you can chalk that up to the projector headlamps, the cool grille and the chunky bodywork. Now, while the petrol version of this car might have walked away with a cool new Revotron turbocharged engine, in the diesel, Tata has struck with the tried and tested. So the engine is a Fiat-sourced 89 bhp 1.3-litre quadrajet, as in the Manza. And this engine has become as ubiquitous in this category as ice in Alaska. What is special though is the AMT system, or automatic manual transmission, which is a nifty bit of engineering. Unlike a regular torque converter or the more advanced double clutch DSG systems, the AMT is actually just a regular manual transmission that uses hydraulic actuators to lift the clutch and change the gears for you. In effect, the transmission control chip is replacing your clutch foot and your gear hand. It does work pretty well if your expectations about the smoothness of the transmission system middling. There's a decent bit of gap between gear shifts. This isn't an issue when you're crawling through rush hour traffic or cruising at high speeds, but let's say you're accelerating constantly from say a 0 to 100. You're going to have that rubber band effect when power stops and starts as gears shift. Now this is not the kind of car where you mash your foot down and expect things to happen very quick. It does take some time getting used to this car, and I guess the trick is keep things smooth. Grab the throttle gently. Take it from us though, in the city, it's a boon. You also got sport mode where the gear shifts take a little longer, allowing you more power from the engine. And then there's the Tiptronic method. You really want to get a move on. You use the gear lever as a rocker and it will hold gears till about 4,500 RPM. And there's one thing that Tata cars were infamous for. It was their, how do we put this nicely, kinda terrible ride and handling. We're happy to report that that's changed as well. What you got with the Zest is a great mix of ride and handling, and we think that this is perhaps the best balance you can get at this price. There is this bit of thudding when you hit a really rubbish road, but it only remains a sound and doesn't translate to you bouncing around inside the cabin. Also, incongruously for a Tata car, the Zest is a car that handles pretty well. You can hit corners faster than usual and the car will handle it, with a slight bit of body roll that doesn't really take away from the experience. So you've got decent engine, decent handling and mechanics, but for most people the real business end of the car is in the pointy part in the front, but the design and the interiors. And here too, Tata is going to blow your skirts up with the overall slickness. The Zest gets an all-new interior and definitely feels fresh and contemporary. The dual-tone dash is made of quality components and fit and finish are better than we've seen in a Tata product. Space too is one thing you won't have to complain about with the impressive head, shoulder and legroom, though the transmission tunnel is going to be a pain for the passenger in the middle on the rear bench. The test car that we have is not the top-end model and hence does not come with climate control, and the stereo sourced from Harman Kardon does have what you need like USB and stereo ports along with Bluetooth connectivity, but is one notch below what you'll get if you spring for the top-end model. Even compared to other cars in this class, the Zest Diesel AMT matches up as far as style, space and features are concerned. And if your primary use is going to be in the city, you can't go wrong with this car. And that was our show for this week. We've had a great time making it. We hope you've had a good time watching. Remember, you can catch this entire episode online at timesnow.tv or youtube.com and follow us at Times Drive on Twitter for program schedules and updates. Till next week then, drive safe.